I'm Tom from Do-It-Yourself Home Automation, and this is an initial look at a kind of cool new service that I'm starting to test out called Ohmconnect. And basically the idea here is that it's a service you sign up for, and it connects to your utility company's smart meter. And they're only using, I think, 3 different utilities in California at the moment. PGE is one, that's the one that I use, and I believe there's 2 others, maybe one in Southern California. And basically, they're using the smart meter data, and they work with the power utilities to, during certain specific hours, cut the overall usage of power across the grid. And the concept is, they identify times when power use is going to be really high, the grid is having trouble supplying the demand, other power plants would have to be switched on to meet the demand, and instead Ohmconnect works with its users to reduce their usage during those specific hours, save power on the grid, and that prevents these power plants from having to be switched on. And the concept is then the utility pays them for that service, basically, selectively reducing consumption instead of having to generate more power. And it's environmentally friendly, obviously, because if you can cut down on your power usage, then that's going to be a lot better than having to switch on more power plants to meet the demands of the grid. So kind of a cool concept, and the great thing about it, and I think is really neat, is that they then pass those payments in part on to their users. So by signing up with Ohmconnect and then helping them to reduce power consumption during these very specific time periods when the grid is overloaded, they actually will pay you a certain amount to do that from the money that they get from the utilities. So I love that because a lot of initiatives that try to get people to reduce power usage, especially during peak times when it's really needed, are really just for the utilities' benefit. You don't get anything aside from just saving a little bit of power and helping the environment, but they're not passing on the savings that they're getting from not having to supply more power to you. Versus with Ohmconnect, the concept is it's basically good for everybody. The utility gets a benefit, you get a benefit, and then they, as the middleman, obviously get to take a cut. So I signed up for this. I think it's a really neat business model. I hope they expand to other places, and I'm going to try out and see how it actually works. So this is the main website. I've created an account, and I've linked this to my PGE smart meter. And then they have what they call these ohm hours, which they're using a little hashtag there to identify. And these are the specific times that they've identified when power use is going to be high across the grid, and a utility would otherwise have to turn on a new power plant, switch on a natural gas plant or something like that. But instead, they're going to try to help their community reduce power and avoid that. So what they've done here for me is to look at my previous usage, and they're saying the next one of these ohm hours is Wednesday the 14th. That's today when I'm recording this video. It's 6 to 7 p.m. my local time. They're predicting that normally during that time period I would use 2.2 kilowatt hours or thereabouts. And if I can then, during that time, during that ohm hour from 6 to 7 today, reduce my usage, they'll give me points for each, watt or watt hour that I don't use. So say I only use 1 kilowatt hour, I guess I would get 1,000 points from doing that. And then the points have a certain value, so they add up, and then you can go in and redeem them for, I believe, cash and probably gift cards and that kind of thing. And there's all kinds of different, ways to add on to this. They have a referral program like most of these kinds of companies usually would, where you can earn money for referring friends. They have giveaways where during certain ohm hours, if you beat your goals, you're entered into a drawing for a giveaway or contest. And one of the things I think is most interesting, though, from a home automation perspective, is if you don't want to have to bother with monitoring these ohm hours and actually reducing your usage manually, you can actually sync some certain smart devices to the account, and Ohmconnect will automatically shut off your appliances for those hours. And so basically, even if you're not at home or something, or you don't want to monitor it, they can shut off certain things for you, and you can end up saving money and getting those points that you can then redeem. So for example, you can sync your Nest Learning thermostat, And during ohm hours, it'll shut off your AC for that hour, and that'll help you to meet your goals of reducing your overall power usage. Again, for me, if I could cut it in half, then I'd earn a good number of points. There's also tiers, so if you consistently reduce your usage during these ohm hours by a certain amount, then you reach a higher tier where you get more points. So you can see save 80% to reach diamond, 40% for platinum. And you get this streak also of how many ohm hours in a row you've successfully reduced your usage. And all of these are sort of a gamification thing that I think is intended to just help people actually reduce their usage during those hours. And again, that's the service that Ohmconnect is selling back to the utilities. If they're not actually able to reduce usage, then the utilities have to switch on power plants and that kind of thing to supply more power, so they're not getting the value. So Ohmconnect really wants you to actually follow these ohm hours, even follow them automatically using connected smart devices. And again, it's good for them and good for the grid and potentially good for you if you end up getting rewards. So I'm going to test this out. I'm going to see during the next ohm hour, which again is today, if I reduce my usage, how much I can get it down from that 2.2 kilowatt hours use. And I'll see if I get some bonus points from that and then what those points are worth. If you found this helpful in any way, please subscribe to my channel. It really helps.